So I want to raise some central question. First of all, when we speak, well, the title here is Between the Second and the Third World, which expresses probably, of course, some feeling that was expressed some years ago by a Polish historian, Gary Meck, saying we were hoping to go towards the north and we are going towards the south. That is a kind of disillusion of a certain part of the people from Eastern Europe, hoping perhaps to join the core developed countries of capitalism and sharing the most developed aspects, some often hoping that it will be more the Swedish model than something more, let's say, neoliberal, but at least hoping to share some democratic features also of the old Europe and so on. So 2089 has been presented often in the West, and I am questioning you, as a broad democratic revolution, as if the choices were made by the people themselves, going towards what, living what. So that's a question I'm raising to you. What is sure is that 20 years later, that is in 2009, the crisis which began in the core capitalist countries in the United States and then in the Western Europe and so on, arrived in Eastern Europe. And I think it's a new period now, since 2009, I would say, for questioning the last decades. That is, what were the aims for the people themselves here of the changes, who decided, and what were the results. The neoliberal, that is the, don't mind, the kind of economist which share some dominant, let's say, theories and dogmas about the way to be efficient, were saying that market and privatization, generalized market and generalized privatization would lead to efficiency and democracy. This is a kind of equation which was given in the whole world, and especially in Eastern Europe. Of course, it was not said explicitly that market didn't mean simply the possibility to go and buy in magazine some good food or products. Market was generalized market, that is labor market, so transformation of the status of workers, the possibility of huge unemployment and bankruptcy for the enterprises. Market meant also a capital market, that is a radical transformation of the role of money in Eastern European countries, and of the possibility of capital accumulation for profit to be organized. And market meant also generalized international globalized competition among labor force as a tool which was supposed to be efficient. So what kind of efficiency? The supposed efficiency of those recipes was to say that in countries where there is abundance of capital, much capital spared, then the simple market orientation would lead the capital to go where it is needed. Where it is needed because there is not a lot of capital. So Eastern Europe was precisely considered as a part of the world which needed capital and where there was abundant labor force. And the whole system was supposed to bring it modernization, efficient investment, and employment and increasing wages as long as the more you employ were supposed to bring increasing of wages. Well, the balance sheet of the whole thing, I have written some articles on that I can give you also by internet afterwards. I recommend also to you some general balance sheet written by Özlem Onaran, which I have here, which is 20 years of capitalist transformation of Eastern Europe. I would say that the general balance sheet does not at all correspond to what's the theory. I am teacher also in economics. I know what the neoliberal theory proposes and pretends, and the general effect of the transformation was not at all the kind of effect that the theory announced. The idea was a reduction in Europe, a reduction of inequalities through the free flow of capital and the competition. The idea was increasing of wage and employment. And the statistics of OECD says that Eastern Europe, among the industrialized countries, are the one where labor force is the more flexible, that is the more vulnerable, and where also growth measured by GDP when it occurred, that is in the last decade, in the decades 2000, between 2003 and 2008, after the decade of systemic crisis in the 90s, and after the small recovery, there was so-called growth catching up in 2003 up to 2008. And it was supposed to be the illustration of a success story, growth being higher in Eastern Europe at that moment than in Western Europe. And so the idea of catching up, but catching up what? And then 2000 occurred. And I would say that the general balance sheet of 2009, 2009 occurred, the crisis occurred. The balance sheet of 2009 is the fact that the kind of growth which occurred as a catching up, supposed catching up, in the pre-crisis period was very artificial. It was led as the theory wanted it, as the neoliberal theory wanted it. It was led by foreign capital in foreign direct investment. But the huge majority of foreign, I am speaking there of the countries which are around or within European Union, the huge majority of foreign direct investment went into banks or in certain industrialized parts as car industry articulated with German production. And in general, the growth was credit-led, very highly credit-led, both for factories or for people, ordinary people as well. And it was accompanied by a financial operation with toxic, like we say, credit, that are not only practiced, of course, in Eastern Europe. And so that growth didn't bring a stable industrialization, but a dependent kind of, either a dependent kind of industrialization, a dependent kind of financial input for the growth, and increasing inequalities, increasing poverty, increasing unemployment that you know.